Chapter 1, The Silence of Space, wasn't peaceful. It was accusatory. Commander Elias Rourke floated amid broken hulls, bodies, and drifting embers that had once been Vega Station 9. His visor cracked, his oxygen gauge flashing red, and a sharp pain throbbed behind his left eye. Blood trickled in zero-G, floating lazily past his nose. The Terran fleet was gone. Every cruiser, drone, and gunship scrapped in minutes. He exhaled slowly, keeping his breath shallow. Movement caught his eye. A single flickering light blinked from a half-intact beacon. Then, 3 short flashes. Morse code. SDY. Stay. Alive, he whispered. The comm crackled. Rourke, this is Spectre. Hold position. We have you. A sharp tug yanked him back to consciousness. The boarding tether latched around his waist, and darkness took him before the airlock closed. He woke in a med bay under dim lighting. Tubes fed oxygen and nanites into his bloodstream. Across the room, Admiral Lynn stood with her arms folded, face like carved stone. You died. Her tone was clinical. Felt like it, Rourke rasped. You lost 12,000 personnel in 9 minutes. A peace envoy, 3 carriers, and the orbital station. She handed him a tablet. They wanted you dead most of all. Rourke scrolled through blurry images, footage captured before blackout. Zerzal ships like spined leviathans tore through human lines with biomechanical precision. Then a flash, something unlike any known weapon, rippling space around it. The data cut off there. We picked up a signal trace, Lynn continued, coming from deep in the Orion expanse. Sector A13. We believe it's where that weapon was fired from. You want me to confirm it? Rourke asked, forcing himself to sit up. I want you to destroy it. He stared at her. With what army? With you. Spectre was smaller than Rourke remembered. A stealth recon ship, matte black and barely larger than a freighter, it could navigate asteroid fields and solar storms undetected. He stepped aboard and immediately smelled steel and coolant. Lieutenant Kai Moreno was waiting in the hangar, arms crossed, tool pack slung over one shoulder. You look like hell, Commander. You'll look worse if you still route power through auxiliary vent coils. Kai smirked, still grumpy. I take that as a good sign. Dr. Hallie Venn emerged next, compact, composed, her neural implants faintly glowing at her temples. We're going into the lion's den, she said without pleasantries. And I'll need full access to the alien interface logs if we want a chance to predict what they're doing. Just don't humanize them too much, Rourke said. That's how we lost Vega. She gave a curt nod, but didn't look away. Understanding isn't sympathy, Commander. The rest of the team assembled silently. Sergeant Brox, a walking tank with scars from shoulder to wrist. 2 recon scouts, Rain and Miles, former smugglers turned soldiers. Each one of them had seen battle. Each one had something to prove. As they launched, the stars folded into streaks, and the hum of the FTL drive filled the cabin. No one spoke for several minutes. Briefing began in the ship's war room. Rohr pointed to a 3D model of the A13 sector, highlighting a sprawl of asteroid belts and derelict mining colonies. Intel says the weapon is here. Deep inside the hive structure, the Zerzal built into a moon-sized asteroid. It's alive. Not just a gun. Something smarter. Something connected. Connected how? Hallie asked. We don't know yet, Rourke replied. But it didn't just destroy the fleet. It disabled our long-range communications before we even knew we were under attack. Kai frowned. So it thinks. No. Worse, Rourke said. It learns. Sergeant Brox leaned in. We blow it up. Simple. It's never simple, Hallie muttered. Rourke ignored the tension. We go in silent. No energy signatures. We land, scout, and if we can't take it offline, nuke it. Understood. Everyone nodded. Days passed in tense silence as Spectre slipped through dead zones and radiation fields. Hull lights remained dim. No music, no chatter. Just focus. When they finally reached the outer perimeter of A13, the scope came alive. Towering monoliths of organic material jutted from the asteroid's surface, pulsating faintly like a heartbeat. Spines like coral reef bones arched between craters. Visual confirmation, Miles whispered. It's breathing. As they docked, a soft ping alerted them. Motion detected in the docking bay. Rourke ordered weapons ready. The airlock hissed open. A figure floated inside, emaciated, eyes wide. A human. They pulled him in fast. The man coughed blood, face half-burned. Rourke knelt. "Name, soldier." The man grabbed Rourke's collar with shaking hands. They listened through the stone, through the metal. "You can't speak here. You can't even think." His eyes rolled back. "Dead." Hallie scanned his neural implant. It's been overridden by an external signal. Something embedded deep, organic code. Kai's hands flew over the interface. They infected his implants? That's not just warfare. That's rewriting cognition. "Exactly," Hallie murmured. "This isn't just a weapon. It's a language." Rourke stood, jaw set. "Then we better learn to speak fast." Outside, the void pulsed. Something ancient was watching. Chapter 2. The asteroid loomed ahead like a god's broken tooth, jagged, blackened, and impossibly vast. Veins of faint bioluminescence pulsed across its surface, casting eerie glows through the drifting ice fields. From orbit, it looked dead, but Spectre's sensors said otherwise. Scanning returns show organic heat signatures, Moreno muttered, frowning at his terminal. "But they're embedded inside the rock." Hallie adjusted her neural interface. "Not heat, pulse rhythms. They're clustered in patterns. It's some form of metabolic activity, coordinated." Rourke leaned in, watching the data unfold. "It's alive. And listening." He ordered full stealth. The ship's systems dimmed, weapons powered down, external emissions sealed. They were invisible, hopefully. Docking trajectory set, Miles announced. "Touchdown in 3." The ship descended toward a narrow crevice in the asteroid's surface, following a path carved by centuries of wear or intention. As they slid inside, rock gave way to twisted tunnels lined with fibrous material. It looked grown, not built. The hangar bay appeared without warning. Circular, enormous, lined with husks of ancient ships, some Terran, some alien, all stripped bare and hollowed out. They touched down in silence. "Pressure's stable. Suit up anyway," Rourke ordered. "If this thing can hijack implants, we don't breathe its air." Inside the alien facility, the walls pulsed faintly underfoot. Every step sounded wrong, dampened by layers of organic growth. Rourke led the team through a corridor carved from bone-like material, weapons drawn, helmets sealed. The deeper they went, the more the air thickened with a sense of presence. Brox whispered, "This whole place feels like a damn long." "No chatter," Rourke replied. Ahead, a junction split into 3 tunnels. The central one descended toward the core, exactly where the signal was coming from. They took it. As they descended, Hallie tapped her visor. "Something's interfering with my neural link. I'm hearing tones, like music but dissonant, incomplete." "Can you shut out?" Rourke asked. "I can isolate it, but it's not random. It's trying to establish rhythm, like it's mimicking communication." Moreno stopped at a sealed hatch. "Thermal spikes beyond this point. Could be machinery. Could be worse." Brox readied his plasma cutter. Only one way to find out. As the hatch opened, warm mist rolled out. The chamber beyond was vast, dome-shaped, with a ceiling that arched high into darkness. In the center stood an enormous structure, half machine, half organ. It pulsed gently, each rhythm accompanied by a faint glow that rippled across its surface. Rourke stepped forward. "That's the weapon?" "No," Hallie said, scanning rapidly. "That's its brain." As they approached, movement stirred behind them. Miles shouted, "Contact! Rear sector!" Forms emerged from the mist. Bipedal, skeletal figures with plated limbs and eyeless faces. They moved without sound, weapons fused to their arms. Zerzal, but altered. Changed. "Hold fire," Rourke barked. Too late. Brox's reflexes kicked in, unleashing a burst of plasma. The bolt tore through the nearest attacker's torso, sending it tumbling. The others responded instantly, but not with weapons, with shrieks. A high-pitched resonance rippled through the chamber, vibrating through their suits. Moreno collapsed, clutching his helmet. They're using sound, some kind of neurological overload. "Retreat into the core chamber," Rourke ordered. "We hold there." The team fell back, dragging Moreno behind them. The moment they crossed the threshold into the core's space, the resonance cut off. The attackers stopped at the edge. None crossed. Hallie looked around. It's protecting us. The brain, whatever it is, it's isolating us from their signal. What? Brox asked. Because we're useful, she said grimly. Or because it's curious. They set up a temporary perimeter while Hallie worked on linking her implants to the structure. Rourke paced nearby, watching the Zurzal beyond the chamber, frozen like statues. They didn't move. They didn't blink. They simply waited. How's it going? He asked, stopping beside Hallie. It's not encrypted. That's the terrifying part. It wants us to see. The interface bloomed across her visor, feeding symbols and sequences faster than she could track. It's not a single consciousness. It's a network, a field of minds woven together, like a chorus. Can we shut it down? I don't think so, she replied, but we might be able to talk to it. Moreno stirred behind them, regaining consciousness with a groan. What happened? They hit you with a frequency burst, Rourke said. You're lucky to be alive. Hallie didn't look up. We need to make contact. This weapon, it's not just a bomb. It's an interface between minds. I think it's trying to communicate through mimicry. Show it something then, Rourke said. But be quick. Those things out there aren't patient. Hallie sent a low-frequency pulse, one of Earth's first deep space signals, the hydrogen sequence. Primitive, but universal. For several seconds, nothing happened. Then the chamber dimmed. Lines of light crawled along the walls. Symbols unfolded in the air, Zurzal language. Hallie's translator flared to life. It read, "We were altered." We screamed into the dark. Only you answered. She stared, pale. It thinks we're the ones who changed them. Rourke's face darkened. Then we got bigger problems than we thought. Suddenly, the core pulsed, violent, rhythmic. The chamber trembled. From outside came the hiss of energy weapons warming. They're advancing, Brox called. 50 seconds, maybe less. Hallie, Rourke barked. I can stall it. Maybe link directly. But I need a neural jack, she said. I'll do it, Rourke said without hesitation. You sure? She asked. No, he answered, already removing his helmet. But we're out of time. As Hallie wired the jack into the neural port at the base of his skull, Rourke steadied his breathing. The moment the connection activated, everything fell away. He wasn't in the chamber anymore. He stood beneath alien skies, surrounded by towers of bone and glass. Zurzal walked beside him, whole, unwarped. They sang in tones that bent the air, peaceful, unified, until a rift opened in the sky, dark, swirling. From it came something, shadows, tendrils, whispers. Rourke turned. The Zurzal screamed. Their songs fractured into static. Their bodies twisted. He felt their pain, their confusion, their transformation. He opened his eyes, gasping. Hallie grabbed his shoulder. What did you see? Something rewrote them, Rourke said, voice hollow. It's not just us or them. There's something else out there. And it's coming. Chapter 3, The Hive Core. Commander Rourke sat against the chamber wall, his breath shallow. The neural jack was still warm where it connected behind his ear. Sweat clung to his brow despite the suit's cooling system. Across from him, Dr. Hallie Venn stared at the pulsing alien core, her expression unreadable. That thing didn't just show you memories, she said quietly. It made you feel them. He nodded once, like drowning in someone else's grief. Sergeant Brox stood watch near the tunnel entrance, weapon ready. Whatever you touched, it stirred up the nest. Movement outside. Heavy, slow, not like before. Hallie glanced at the interface glowing above the core's surface. The network is shifting. It's adapting. We opened a two-way link. Moreno spoke from the far side of the room, crouched beside a scanning panel. I'm picking up new signals. Not from Azurza deeper. Something beneath the core. Buried or hidden. Alive? Rourke asked. Hard to say, but it's sending pulses. Like sonar, but directed inward. Hallie adjusted the display. It's searching for something inside itself. Self-diagnostics? Rourke asked. She shook her head. More like self-doubt. Rourke stood. Then maybe we're not just facing a weapon. Maybe this entire place is a question that doesn't want to be answered. They moved through the inner tunnels cautiously, each corridor tighter than the last. Fibrous cables lined the walls, twitching at their approach. Some moved aside as if sensing human presence. Others recoiled. It was like walking through the nervous system of a creature trying to decide if it should lash out or let them pass. Hallie marked patterns along the walls. These aren't decorative. They're memory structures. Each strand carries imprinted data. Brox muttered. You mean we're walking through an alien's brain? Not one, she replied. Thousands. At the end of the passage, a sealed archway pulsed softly. Hallie reached out, her glove brushing its surface. It opened without resistance. Beyond lay a circular chamber bathed in violet light. At its center stood a column of suspended matter, liquid, yet shaped like a spine. Around it, holographic projections flickered. Stars, ships, languages unfamiliar even to Hallie's translator. This is it, she whispered. The core within the core. Rourke circled it carefully. Can we shut it down? Hallie studied the floating structure. We might not have to. It's hesitating. You said it's learning, Moreno added. Could it be changing its function? Possibly, she said. But we don't know what it's becoming. Brox cut in, voice sharp. We didn't come to study it. We came to end it. Rourke's eyes stayed on the holograms. We can't destroy what we don't understand. Then we die trying to figure it out? Brox snapped. Hallie stepped between them. We need more data. A direct link to this chamber's control nexus. Too dangerous, Moreno said. If it pushes another neural burst. I'll do it, Rourke said. His voice left no room for debate. This time, the interface connected deeper. He was no longer in an alien sky, but in a corridor of stars. Hundreds of worlds spinning around him, timelines bleeding together. He saw the Zurzal before the transformation, building star temples, crafting harmonic engines, reaching across the stars with curiosity, not conquest. Then came the rift, a wound in space. From it came voices, ancient primal wrong. They whispered promises of strength, evolution through suffering. The Zurzal answered, not with words, but with surrender. They rewrote themselves, sacrificed empathy for survival. The chorus fractured, and the hive was born. Rourke staggered back from the interface, gasping. Hallie steadied him. What did it show you? They didn't lose themselves, he said. They gave themselves up. They chose it. Brox's jaw tightened. Then they're not victims, just monsters who wanted power. No, Rourke said. They were desperate. They did what they thought they had to, just like us. Suddenly, alarms blared across Moreno's HUD. Massive energy spike incoming rear tunnel. Incoming signatures. Non-Zurzal. They turned to the display. Shapes moved toward them, bigger, heavier, and radiating energy beyond known spectrums. Not mechanical, not biological, something in between. Hallie's face paled. It's them. Whatever corrupted the Zurzal, it's still here. Rourke gritted his teeth. It's not just memory. It's infection. This place isn't a weapon. It's a transmission node. Then we destroy it now. Brox growled, activating a fusion charge. Hallie grabbed his wrist. That could trigger a failsafe. We don't know what's connected to it. This whole sector might detonate. We can't leave it intact, he snapped. Rourke cut between them. We won't. We'll hijack it. All eyes turned to him. We've opened a link, he said. It's listening. If we can redirect its signal, flip its frequency, we turn its voice against the ones that changed it. Hallie blinked. That could work. But someone has to stay linked through the transition, to guide the rewrite. Moreno cursed. Whoever does that might not come back the same. Rourke didn't hesitate. I'll do it. They worked fast. Hallie rewrote signal parameters. Moreno rerouted power through the auxiliary core. Brock stood guard at the tunnel, pulse cannon charged. Every second, the enemy's signatures closed in. Interface ready, Hallie called. Rourke stepped into the field. His vision exploded with light. He didn't see the alien sky this time. He saw Earth burning, then frozen, then shattered. He saw infinite versions of humanity, rising and falling, screaming in a void that never answered back. Then, he screamed into it himself, and something screamed back. Chapter 4 Voidfire. The air trembled, not from movement, but from pressure. Something massive was approaching, unseen but undeniable. The corridor behind them pulsed red. Warning systems within the hive structure, now repurposed, seemed almost anxious. Contact in 90 seconds, Moreno reported. No known IFF. It's not the Zerzal. Then it's what corrupted them, Hallie said, voice tight. Rourke remained inside the control field, eyes closed, body twitching against the neural strain. Hallie monitored his vitals. Elevated heart rate. Neural stress nearing overload. He was guiding the signal shift alone, diving into an alien system not meant for human thought. Can he survive this? Brox asked, loading another charge into his cannon. No one's ever interfaced this deep, Hallie answered. We're past theories. Brox turned to the corridor. Good, because whatever's coming doesn't care about science. The first wave hit like a hammer. Creatures poured through the passage, hulking, skeletal things wrapped in tech flesh, limbs bending in unnatural directions. They moved fast, too fast for their size. No words, no signals, just movement. Brox opened fire. His pulse cannon tore through the lead attacker's chest. The thing didn't stop. It staggered forward another 3 steps before collapsing. The others split formation, crawling across walls and ceilings surrounding them. Defensive formation, Hallie shouted. Moreno deployed auto turrets, locking them onto movement signatures. Lasers traced arcs through the air. Sparks flew as metal met bone. One of the creatures landed hard near the control column. Hallie ducked low, firing a burst that severed its spine. The body twitched, then went still. Purple ichor hissed on contact with the floor. We can't hold this line long, she warned. Brox grinned, blood on his teeth. We don't need long. Rourke's voice came through the comm, distorted, distant. Almost there, connection stabilizing. Whatever you're doing, Commander, Hallie said, do it faster. Inside the signal field, Rourke wasn't in his body anymore. He moved through thought, not space. Alien memories flickered past him like data streams, pouring from fractured minds, trying to become one again. Somewhere in that storm was the weapon's core algorithm, the pulse pattern that dictated its targeting and identification systems. He reached for it. A wall of resistance hit him. Pain, raw and immediate. Not physical, emotional. The remnants of a race that had suffered too long, afraid to let go of the power that protected them, even if it poisoned everything it touched. Let me in, he whispered. The resistance surged. Screams, millions layered over each other, howling in languages older than light. He pushed harder, and then a crack. A moment of silence. The algorithm opened. Outside, the second wave came. Larger, more coordinated. A towering figure stepped into the chamber, twice Brox's size, plated in black armor, fused to bone. Its head turned without eyes, sensing everything. In its hand, a weapon shaped like a living spine. Brox didn't wait. He charged, firing at point-blank range. The blasts ricocheted, some absorbed by the armor, others punching through. The thing retaliated with a sweeping strike that knocked Brox across the chamber, slamming him into the wall with a sickening crunch. Hallie screamed. Brox! He coughed blood but smiled, still breathing. The creature advanced. Hallie grabbed a fusion grenade from Brox's belt, armed it, and sprinted past the creature's legs. As it turned, she slid beneath it, planting the charge into a gap in its armor. Now, she yelled. Moreno hit the trigger. The explosion shattered the chamber's left wall, flinging shrapnel and fire. The creature fell, twitching once before going still. Silence followed. Then, Rourke's voice again. Clear this time. It's done. The pulse emitted from the hive core was almost soundless, more felt than heard. It passed through armor, bone, and steel. The remaining attackers froze, twitching. Some collapsed. Others turned and fled. Hallie stared in awe. You reprogrammed it. No, Rourke said, stepping out of the field, sweat pouring down his face. I made it remember what it used to be. He swayed. Hallie caught him. You're bleeding, she said. From everywhere, he muttered. The core dimmed. Symbols faded. The chamber stilled. For the first time since their arrival, nothing moved. Brox groaned from the wall. Is it over? Not yet, Rourke said. The signal's still broadcasting, just not to them. It's reaching further, deeper. Moreno checked the console. Sir, we've got external readings. Zerzal fleets are retreating across the sector. Disorganized. Some not even responding to commands. They were bound to the hive, Rourke said. It broke the chain. They evacuated quickly. The Spectre extracted them with surgical precision, slipping out through a narrow gap in the asteroid's upper shell. Rourke watched the hive vanish behind them, its glow now soft, almost peaceful. He slumped in his seat, eyes half closed. Hallie sat across from him. You linked to something no human ever has. How do you feel? Like I survived a war I didn't understand until it was too late. Brox chuckled, wrapped in bandages. Welcome to the club. Rourke looked at him. You saved our lives back there. You bought us time to fight. Moreno interrupted. We're getting multiple incoming transmissions. Zerzal channels. Fragmented. Confused. Hallie translated one fragment aloud. The chorus is broken. We are alone. Rourke exhaled. They'll either find their way back or destroy themselves trying. And us, she asked. We buy time. Prepare. Because whatever twisted them didn't stop. Outside the window, stars burned cold and distant. Somewhere beyond them, another silence waited to be broken. Chapter 5 The hospital bay aboard the Solace was silent, save for the rhythmic hum of life support monitors. Commander Elias Rourke lay motionless, his body wired to machines that worked harder than his lungs. Electrodes danced across his temples, monitoring not just vital signs, but brainwave anomalies. Dr. Hallie Vinn stood at his side, arms folded, eyes fixed on his still face. He'd been unconscious for 19 hours. Neural recovery was uncertain. No one had ever linked that deeply to a biomechanical hive mind and walked away. Behind her, the door hissed open. Admiral Lin stepped in, still in uniform, hair pinned tight, expression unreadable. Report, she said. Hallie didn't look away. His vitals are stabilizing, but his neural activity is fragmented. He's dreaming, but the patterns don't match anything human. Is it alien influence? It's more than that, Hallie said. He's carrying echoes, fragments of a collective mind, thoughts that were never his. Lin stepped closer to the bed. He saved us. Yes, but he might never be entirely one of us again. Outside the viewport, the Orion expanse stretched endless and cold. Distant stars blinked quietly, unaware of the war that had nearly consumed everything near them. The Zerzal fleet had withdrawn, erratic, uncoordinated. Scout reports confirmed internal fractures, subfactions forming, command nodes collapsing. Without the hive, they were reverting to something less predictable and possibly more dangerous. Brock sat in the galley with Moreno, arms wrapped in synth bandages, sipping a protein slurry that looked and tasted like wet concrete. So what now, he asked. Moreno shrugged. We wait. Debrief. Rebuild. Brox leaned back. Feels wrong. Like we just paused the storm instead of ending it. Moreno nodded. That's what storms do. They circle back. Rourke awoke 12 hours later. No gasping. No shock. Just a slow blink, a breath, and then silence as his eyes adjusted to the ceiling. Hallie was there before he could move. You're awake, she said. He turned his head. Feels like my brain's been chewed through. Technically, it was restructured. You created a direct interface with a foreign neural system. Your cortex compensated by absorbing parts of it. I don't speak alien. You do now, she said, in ways you don't even understand yet. He closed his eyes briefly, then opened them again. Did it work? She nodded. The hive pulse disrupted the command network. The Zerzal scattered. But they're not done. Just lost. Rourke sat up slowly. Then neither are we. 2 days later, Rourke stood in front of the War Council aboard TDS Genesis, a ship large enough to serve as a mobile capital. Admiral Lin presided. Holographic feeds displayed footage of the now-dormant hive structure, a quiet wound in space. Intelligence briefings poured in, Zerzal factions communicating without harmony, civil conflict on multiple fronts, and one terrifying possibility, splinter hives adapting without central guidance. We've seen this before, Rourke said, voice steadier than expected. Once a centralized system fractures, What's left learns to survive on its own. They're evolving again, this time without unity. General Murad frowned. That could make them weaker. Or smarter, Rourke countered. We didn't defeat an army. We disrupted a system. The threat isn't over. It's just decentralized. A moment of silence followed. Lynn spoke. And the source? The entity that changed them. No trace, Rourke said, but still out there. Waiting. She nodded. Then we prepare. Later that night, Rourke sat alone in the observatory deck, watching the stars pass by. The war hadn't ended. It had changed shape. Hallie joined him, holding 2 mugs of synthesized coffee. Doctor says your brain's forming new neural pathways. Should I be worried? She smiled faintly. Not unless you start growing antennae. He took the cup. Thanks. They sat in silence for a while. Finally, he said, I felt them. The Zurzao. Not just their pain, but their belief. They thought becoming weapons was the only way to be heard. Hallie stared out the window. And what did we become? Answering them with more weapons. He didn't respond immediately. Then, softly, survivors. She glanced at him. You sure about that? No, he admitted. But it's the best I've got. A soft chime interrupted them. Rourke tapped his comm. Commander, you're needed on deck. Long-range sensors just picked up a signal. What kind? Unknown origin. Directional. Targeted at us. Rourke stood. Hallie followed. Coordinates? Outside charted space. The voice replied. Beyond the rift. Rourke's blood ran cold. He didn't need a translation. He already understood.